Well, President Trump's tariff blitz has come, and we've already seen some big-time impacts even before the opening bell. Dow futures were down more than 2%. We saw overseas markets reacting. There's a fair amount of political reaction, obviously, as we are hearing, but we're also looking at the implications here at home. Consumer warrior Clark Howard says you will ultimately bear a lot of the brunt as the consumer, and it may take upwards of 8 to 10 weeks to feel the impacts, he says. More insight from our consumer warrior. We're hearing from shrimpers and Mayport and what sort of impact they may feel. We're continuing to follow some of the other parts of the economy that may be impacted by what lies ahead, and obviously the bigger ramifications on some of the relationships politically and internationally. All of these stories are coming into focus throughout Jacksonville's morning news, but there's a lot more news to cover from your community. Mayor Deegan announcing she will not sign and she will not veto that illegal immigration bill, which would presumably allow it to become law without her signature next week, but it does set up the possibility of a legal fight that goes forward. A lot of back and forth between the mayor and some of the city council members, namely Kevin Carrico, who was one of the main sponsors of the bill and is the council vice president. We're continuing to follow the fallout from that storyline. Clay County Fair is getting underway today, a little bit later into the afternoon. 10 days of all sorts of stuff on the Midway and all the agriculture. It is one of the coolest fairs that we have in the area because it truly is rooted in agriculture. But obviously, you've got all the fair food and the rides and the entertainment and everything else in between. We're hearing from the Clay Fair leaders throughout Jacksonville's morning news and continuing to follow that over the coming days. How warm and humid the weekend is looking, plus some insight from First Coast Crime Stoppers on the tips that came in the murder of that young boy Breon Allen. And we're hearing about the value of Crime Stoppers as a tool in the community to help police solve these kinds of crimes and most other senseless violence in our community. In depth on Jacksonville's morning news.